October content idea: dress up in a costume and make that your permanent persona from here on out. That'd be so funny if Marie was just like the demon deacon from Wake Forest or something.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the best podcast in real estate, aka The Walkthrough, where each and every single week we walk you through this week's trending topics in real estate in real time, bringing on top industry professionals. My name is Dan O'Neill, and I am your co-host and captain of BAM, Broke Agent Media. And today, joining me as always, the biggest Swiftie of them all, Mr. Eric, the Broke Agent Simon. Eric, how are you, buddy? My microphone just blew up in a million pieces. How many friendship bracelets do you have on your wrist?
This is zero, but I'll tell you this, Dan.
This is the
I have gone to maybe 30, 40 football games with my wife, Ann, and have had football on for the last 3 weeks. She hasn't looked at the TV once. Yesterday, she texted me asking me when the Chiefs were playing, and she watched all 3.5 hours of Sunday Night Football. So I'm not a Swiftie, but my wife is. She's bringing on an entire new audience.
Also joining us today, another major Swiftie fan here, the man, the myth. Just read his newsletter, and it is incredible. Mr. Jason Cassidy. Jason, how are you, buddy? You look tan. You look great. How you feeling?
What's up, team? I'm feeling great. Ready to get the show on the road. Did that sound rude?
No,
that's good. Let's move through the intros. Let's go.
Yeah. Lastly, absolutely crushing on social media and business right now, Miss Marie Lee from Tennessee. How you doing? How are you?
Doing good. Howdy. How's it going?
It's going better. I wish I had a better microphone. But regardless, today we are talking Redfin leaving NAR. October content ideas. Tyler Lockett, a professional football player on my fantasy football team, obtaining his real estate license, and much, much more. Make sure to like and subscribe. Comment where you're listening from, and let's get into it. All right, topic number one.
October content ideas. Let's go.
October content ideas, baby. October content ideas. Eric, I have a few that I've written down here. This is written by Bamstat. Some of the ideas that I have, obviously, we're doing Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I dyed my hair pink. We're tying a lot of our content into philanthropy, and it's taking off, which is cool. We created a challenge. We are doing a lot of fall-scented candles, right? So like apple spice. You know, love a little apple spice. Who doesn't?
How are you integrating that into your content? Are you just putting those out of your listings? Or are you making your content actually smell like apple spice?
Both. And I'm going to do one where it's just me lighting every single one of them. I'm going to fill my house with pumpkins and just pumpkin decor. Freddy versus Jason, all the movies that are coming out, Scream. October's my favorite month for content because you can act out a lot of skits. Jason, any October content ideas? Are you going to do a sushi video?
No, but I want to defer to Eric because I do want to hear like the actual timely ones. I love how he trend jacks and goes off the calendar. I just batched a lot of content for the upcoming. I'm doing 100 videos in 100 days challenge on YouTube, which is
we'll
nuts.
see about that.
I'm not. Eric doesn't believe in me, but I am 10 for 10. I'd like to go put that on the record. So that being said, none of that content is like October related, right? It's like local stuff. But what I tried to do was incorporate a couple green screen videos in with just like the local pumpkin patches and fall stuff that you could do. So I did incorporate 1 or 2 videos in this most recent batch, just around the fall stuff. But I do want to defer. I'm interested to hear what Eric has for the calendar of stuff. And I do love like when stuff happens too, like this Taylor Travis thing we were just talking about, just took us out of nowhere over the last 2 weeks and has now taken over the whole world. And so I've seen, people making memes about it from the real estate space too. So I'm interested to see like
Jason, are you going to make a video about the best places to go pumpkin picking in San Diego? Is that even a thing?
I might. It worked out last time.
Pumpkin picking.
That'll be on the walkthrough for the next 9 episodes in a row. Marketing of the week: Jason Cassidy walking through pumpkin patch in sunny San Diego. Marie Lee, what about some content ideas for fall here, October, that you may have in mind?
Look, I'm probably as dry as they come. I think we have all already acknowledged that via our group chat that we've had coming along. But here we are, 90 days out from the brand new year. I think this is a really great time to start prepping for Q1. So Coffee and Contracts has actually just listed out a 90 days to home ownership challenge. This is where we're providing all the materials for you on how to educate and nurture buyer leads, like taking them through the process. So that way, by the time January 1 comes through, they're ready, they're feeling a little bit more educated and prepared on what's to come. So I feel like that's a really great tool to be utilizing during this month. But if I'm going to have to go with some October content, I'm probably going to have to do like the best pumpkin spice lattes in Nashville, Tennessee. You know, just we're getting real basic, but people love that kind of stuff.
Amen. Eric,
Yeah.
I have a question for you really quick here. I'm getting a little bit down on my content, right? So I've been posting what I feel is some pretty good content. My views, you would think that I've never been on Instagram. I'm getting no likes. Comments are there. What is working on Instagram right now? I know it's constantly changing, but like, do you have a few tips as to like what's actually working and what's going on with this? Because people keep asking me, and I have the same question, truthfully.
Yeah, reels are getting crushed right now on Instagram. I don't know if anyone else has felt this, but it feels like you're either getting 90% less engagement than you usually do, or the reel absolutely takes off and goes viral. Gary Vee actually just did a post about this where you always have to be posting on Instagram what's working in this specific moment. So I'll almost look at the landscape of what's being posted that day. I'll look at what you've posted. I'll look at what actually agents posted. I'll look at what Tom Ferry posted. And if I see their engagement is down significantly on reels that day, I actually won't post a reel and I'll post a slideshow. So slideshows right now, I'm doing video content slideshows of old reels, 5 or 6 posts, because that's giving the algorithm 5 or 6 different things that people can consume. Those are crushing. And then what Gary Vee's been doing is he's starting all of his reels now with a cover slide. So you'll notice he'll post a meme or he'll post a screenshot of that actual video, and then he'll swipe to the actual video. So it's basically a carousel post as opposed to a reel. The problem with that is you're kind of taking away your ability to go viral, because a reel is what could get those tens of thousands of shares, right? But the carousel posts right now are what's being consumed the most and getting the most engagement. So I would switch it up and make sure you're doing carousels. Go ahead, Jason.
Does a carousel post, because I've watched you do this, and I was looking at one of your carousels the other day, and I'm like, man, did Eric's work just have to like triple? Because like you used to be able to come up with one meme, but now you have to come up with like 7, so you can have of the same joke, right? So like the National Weather Service one that just came yesterday is like, it's like that's the template, but now you have to come up with 7 different versions of that to get into the carousel. Did your job just get harder?
It did. But again, these things go in complete waves, right? A couple of weeks from now, reels might be what you should post again. So you always just have to be consuming content and see like, okay, if my reels have been getting horrible engagement the last 10 posts, then I'm going to switch it up to carousels. Carousels are almost a guarantee to get better engagement. So if your account's just kind of in a rut, I would switch to that. So Dan, if you have a bunch of October videos, maybe throw 3 or 4 up against the wall.
Well, Eric, so the video I sent you this morning, right? Should I do that should I make the like a post and then put the video? So maybe I just say like, hey, this is.
Yeah. So the concept of that video is, busy realtors trying to get lunch, right? So I would screenshot that video, like a moment where both of you guys are on the phone looking distraught. And then I would put text, whether you put it, from your actual captions, or maybe you make it in Canva and say 2 realtors trying to get lunch. And then with like a crying face, and then you swipe to the actual video itself.
Boom.
That'll get more engagement. But I also have some genius October content ideas here for you guys.
All right,
ready?
Is this ChatGPT or is this you? Because I ChatGPT'd it too. If you did a ChatGPT, I'll know exactly what it is.
Nah, it's a combination of 2. All right. Creepy finds at showings and inspections. Those always do well. And what I would do for any of your reels, if you're posting these to reels or your stories, go in the Spotify music, Instagram, and just type in creepy sounds or creepy audio or Halloween music, and just put that on top of the creepy finds, because that's just going to provide a little bit more context. A Halloween decoration tour for your followers. Yep. So is there a specific neighborhood in Tennessee or Nashville, to be more specific, San Diego, where you could drive around and show people, the skeletons out in front. And then you could also say, oh, I got a listing down the street. Like, you could describe the neighborhood while you're actually showing the creepy decorations. How about this one? Or Halloween.
Do you guys have, really quick, continue, but do you guys have in your towns where people like go ham for Halloween and they put out decorations and they make like a spooky front lawn?
Not some random houses. That's not like Christmas. We have like Christmas card lane and like but not for Halloween. Yeah. But you'll find houses that go all, you'll find like houses that do that, but not like the big street that does it.
Yeah, New York, I guess, are psychos.
Yeah, we got a couple of people in our neighborhood who will sync up their lights to the radio station. So you pull up and, it's all synchronized. So way more time on their hands than I have, and props to them. It's always fun to go and watch.
But that
Eric,
would be a
continue. I
cool real
apologize.
compilation. It's okay. That would be a cool compilation, right? Of like, here are the craziest Halloween decorations in Santa Monica, and then you just show 5 or 6 listings, and you're talking about the neighborhood, telling your scariest real estate stories. That's always one. Like, here's the craziest thing that happened to me at a showing. I know Cassidy like fell in a pool once, or just like dipped his toes. I remember that one did really well.
Haunted houses too. Has anyone ever haunted a house?
Yeah, that's a
I've
good one.
many.
That's a good one. Yeah, 3 best haunted houses in San Diego.
Do you think it's a bad look if you have a listing and your clients, the sellers, put out Halloween decorations? Does that make them seem less serious?
I feel like it adds a little bit of fun and pizzazz, but yeah, then you run the risk of, hey, what if this listing sits a little bit longer? Now we're getting into November. I think the idea of like a skeleton during Thanksgiving time might be a little off-putting. It doesn't seem very welcoming for the holidays, but if you're looking to get a little bit more traction, virality on your marketing, then maybe it'd be a good toss-up.
Yeah,
I think
like if you
also
have
have to know.
if you have cobwebs on your lockbox because no one's seen it in a while, then you could just blame it on the fact that it's actually Halloween. We actually have one here. Haley, if you could pull this up, there's a listing that Marie just sent us. Is this in Tennessee?
This is like 25 minutes from downtown Nashville, and it's a complete renovation. They said you will go ape for this home, and this happened to be
smart.
So
this guy, if you swipe through him here, if you're listening on Spotify, you got to head over to YouTube to see some guy or girl dressed as Sasquatch, I guess, or an ape.
I mean, that word just, maybe Sasquatch, but that's like scary. That's horrifying. that is really scary.
That's a hideous one.
That is. Who is that? Who's the agent?
Yeah, I mean,
oh my God.
And then they only get closer and closer, and as it progresses, you just see like the yellowing of the teeth. I'm a little distracted from the actual home, but hey, I think that's the point, right?
I haven't seen one thing of this house. Is this like, are you allowed to post this on your MLS? Because our MLS, if there's like one little like thing that's off, we get fined like $50.
Come to Tennessee, start up your O'Neill team in Tennessee because things are real lax around here.
So I have an assumption there because I've seen these before with like the blow up dinosaur people and like where they've done that, and it's like I get it, it's fine, it's marketing or whatever. It's probably not more my style, but I noticed that house is also like super dated, right? That house was not renovated, which makes me think that like if that house were for sale in San Diego, it would probably have 47 offers in the first weekend anyways, because it's like flippers would come in to try to buy it. So if you know that the house is going to sell anyways, you can take that risk, because then it's like it was my marketing that did it. But if you were to do that with like a brand new luxury house or something like that, that would be a hard no.
I just can't imagine that conversation. November 1st, house hasn't sold, and you're talking to your sellers, and you're like, "Hey, so that Sasquatch thing, it didn't work."
It didn't work. Exactly. I'm going to dress up as Pikachu for November now, or a turkey. That's what they should do. Is they should switch it up every month, and then December they're Santa Claus or Hanukkah Harry for whatever.
Oh my gosh, love it.
What else do you have there, Eric? I know you have probably 3 or 4 more because I've read the ChatGPT one too. Sharing any haunted house stories?
Yeah, haunted house. Well, scary stories. I don't know how many haunted house stories people would have, but doing content in just a general costume, right? Like you could dress up as Bane and do a property tour. I mean, that's it. Anytime you're dressed up in as a costume, that's a great visual hook as it is.
Yeah, Sasquatch. That might be
Sasquatch, exactly.
Yeah.
I think that Sasquatch should be eliminated completely from the real estate space, along with
that's always the go-to for some reason. Sasquatch. This has been going on for years. I feel like this was the first attempt at real estate humor. Some person dressed up as that dinosaur Pikachu like 10 years ago, and now that's like, okay, this is the easiest thing. I don't have to, say anything. I don't have to create an actual reel, but I'll just dress up as something.
I'll tell you.
Maybe it's Oh, go ahead, Dan.
No, go. You go.
I was going to say, I feel like this is a way for them to like have some implicit marketing of like, believers, like Sasquatch believers. Maybe they're just like trying to attract their crew. I don't know. That's just an assumption. Go ahead, Dan.
Right.
No, you're 100% right. Somebody that lives in Nashville, I'm sorry, it's Glasgow, so I guess it's Kentucky. My ex-girlfriend's father is a huge Sasquatch fan. So he's probably seeing that house right now, and he's probably licking. He might even move. I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably licking his chops, but that's got to be like the top 1%.
How big is the Sasquatch believers
It's
demographic?
big.
That's got to
Right.
be,
That's a
on
very
one hand,
niche
right?
market.
I don't think that person's doing it to attract Sasquatch believers. I just don't understand. Like at the listing appointment, is this guy sitting there and talking about how they're going to go about pricing? He's just like, yeah, I'm just going to dress up as Sasquatch. I was like, oh, brilliant. That's genius. Yeah, that's going to sell the place.
I've had some of those conversations. I mean, I've dressed up as Batman. I did a video with
That's
Michael
true.
Myers on my face the other day. It's a very awkward conversation, but if it works, right? And then you're able to
Yeah.
kind of prove your point. But there's something about wearing a mask and doing a video. I don't know why. It's just I don't know. I don't know how to put
Liberating.
it. Yeah, it kind of is, right? Because like you have to like you can't have any facial expressions, right? So everything you're doing is I don't know. I love the
You know what?
the mask videos.
They should do some. Maybe there should be like a masked realtor, kind of like Dead Mouse or Marshmallow or something, where you never see the person's face, but they're the best content creator ever. Like that guy Sicko Music, who blew up during the pandemic,
Yeah.
and you just never see their face, but then they're completely free with their marketing. That's kind of what the broke agent was before. It was just a key
Yeah.
before I started showing my
I'm
Smart.
stealing that.
face.
Could I
Yeah.
give some tips on
Yeah.
how to do this? All right, from a former college mascot who was masked
No
all the
way.
time.
No
yeah,
way.
who would have thought?
Wait.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, and then we'll dive into this.
I was gonna
Look,
say,
Context.
if we're gonna, yeah. Well, I mean, in college, I was walking down the quad one day, and a guy approached me like, "Hey, do you want to?" try out for the cheerleading team. And I was like, no, but I am interested in the mascot. So, I tried out to be the mascot. It was a college mascot for like 3 years. It paid for pretty much half my college tuition. And, I got to travel and
That's
do a lot of
awesome.
really cool stuff. In fact, we
That's
went to
so,
Disney.
so rad.
Oh, I was a bird.
What college?
Yeah, what
All
college?
right, so it's a satellite of Auburn. It's Auburn,
Alabama.
Montgomery. Yeah, Alabama.
Georgia
This is
Bulldogs.
Wilma the Wildcat. She was at my wedding.
Chauncey the Chanticleer.
And then, during graduation, I actually got to wear these like really big feet. That was like the unveiling, how people found out I was walking across the stage and trying to get my diploma with these big old bird feet. So anyway, I was gonna say, you just got to be really exaggerated, larger than life. And I feel like people kind of eat that stuff up. So let's all go for some masked listings,
Love that.
listing videos.
Yeah.
Bring in the
October
views.
content idea: dress up in a costume and make that your permanent persona from here on out. That'd be so
I'm
funny
doing
if
it.
Marie was just like the demon deacon from
Yeah,
Blue Forest or something.
Straight
It
up.
actually is pretty funny if you think about it, right? Like if you just
That's
have that as
awesome.
like your entire year-long, skit or bit.
Exactly.
All right. Any final thoughts here for October content? I'm wearing a mask every day.
I got a final thought. Jason, 100 videos in 100 days. That is awesome.
Yeah.
You know what else is awesome? We did a YouTube accountability mastermind in our BAMX platform yesterday, where we had 50 people in a Zoom going back and forth on their plans for the next 90 days. If you want to become a member of BAMX, hit the link below in the description.
Yes.
And there is also a pinned comment right there. For 10% off, use code walkthrough. All the best courses and masterminds and live streams in the game. So become a member of BAMX. All right, let's get into the second topic, which is
Oh, I have the right.
Redfin leaves NAR.
Oh, I have the right script this time. I just
What's
had to
going
scroll
on
down.
with this?
Silly me.
What are
This
we
is
doing?
from the BAM key details here. This is from BAM staff. A letter from Redfin leadership announced that this is the end of the company's support for the National Association of Realtors, NAR, for two reasons. NAR's policy requiring a fee for buyer agent compensation in every listing and a pattern of alleged sexual assault. Redfin will require its brokers and agents to leave NAR wherever possible. Redfin leadership issued a letter Monday morning with a major announcement that they are moving to end their support of NAR. The letter gave two reasons for this, and it's, again, in regards to the buyer compensation fee as well as the pattern of sexual harassment and its repeat pattern, which is a little crazy. So as the first major brokerage, this is now to announce its separation from NAR. It is clear that Redfin is looking to change within the industry. It promises to do a better job from NAR leadership, but it was not enough for Redfin to stay. So this, in theory, is the first major brokerage to leave NAR. It's something that I'm not sure, and I'll get your guys' take here now next, if it's happening in your side of the market. But here, we're actually dealing with this already, where agents are offering out 0% compensations. We are having, we've had this class action lawsuit for many, many of years, but it's become a really big thing here on Long Island and a big, big issue, many of meetings. So I want to get maybe, Jason, your thoughts first on Redfin's decision to do this. Do you think there will be others to follow along? And are you feeling any of this class action lawsuit impact in your market?
I'm not surprised. I'm only surprised it took this long, to be honest. Like, this is a better move for Redfin's business model of being like a discount brokerage, because now they don't have to require the brokerage MLS, right, or the compensating brokerage MLS. They can just take listings for 1% and then offer them, put them on their site, which does get a lot of traffic, right? We know that they don't have a ton of market share yet, but they do get a lot of web traffic. And so they can get more listings, ultimately, is their thought here. And so I think that they're using the guise maybe of like the recent sexual harassment stuff as the reason to get out. I think that they were always planning to get out. And I guarantee there will be more brokerages that follow. And what didn't get mentioned in this article, but is a big one too, is the pocket listings rule that NAR came out with a couple years ago. Not allowing brokerages to have pocket listings and market them. Well, Redfin has a huge amount of agents nationwide and a ton of inventory that they can now, similar to what Compass did with like the Cummings or the private exclusives, Redfin can have a whole part of their website that is like, you have to log in and work with a Redfin agent to get this information. And so they're going to be able to get more listings and like get more buyer traffic, because the buyers will be coming to their website to see it. I think it was a no-brainer for them to leave NAR. I'm surprised it took them this long, and I wouldn't be surprised if more brokerages follow suit quickly.
Agreed. And Jason, you know what I found out pretty recently that I thought was very actually criminal. So I was at an open house, and this gentleman came in, and he was just absolutely slinging it. He knew the kind of wood. He knew where the soap dispensary was. I thought it was a. He knew where the dishwasher was. I thought it was a stairway to hell. So I go outside, and I'm like, hey man, you really know what you're talking about here. Like, I'm very impressed. He pulls out a Redfin card. He made like $60,000 a year in salary, and that's it. Like, they're not even commission based, which is pretty crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Marie Lee, what are your thoughts on this? And have you seen any of the class action lawsuit affecting any of your market yet, or?
Yeah, so in terms of class action suits affecting the Nashville market, I feel like every now and then we start seeing some listings that are offering $1. I haven't seen 0% yet. I have seen some people go with some flat fees or, lower commission percentages. But I think in terms of Redfin leaving, some disruption needs to happen. I've only been an agent for 3 years, and I think since I joined, I was like, yo, this seems to be like maybe a monopoly that doesn't necessarily have our best interests at mind. And I feel like, Redfin's got enough market share that obviously it's making the news, it's catching people's eyes and attention. But, I do think it's a little bit of a double-edged sword there. Personally, I actually just took over a Redfin listing. And in our market, Redfin's a brokerage. They did a discounted fee for sale of this. One thing that I noted, this listing never hit our MLS. It was only listed on Redfin's site. Because Redfin is a direct competitor to Zillow, this woman couldn't get her home sold in like 3 to 4 months because she just wasn't getting traffic. People weren't seeing the home. She ended up canceling that contract. We went and took it to market. We got under contract in 1 weekend. That's how much of an impact I think that sometimes views in marketing can have. But I just thought, if we are, taking things specifically to brokerages and now we're starting to break things up and everything's not all syndicated, I'm really curious on how this is going to impact the market. I feel like we're going to start seeing a lot more segmentation, a lot more exclusivity, like you're talking about, which is going to be really crucial to figure out how are we going to try and compete or, follow on the systems.
Marie, you did forget to mention that the reason it sold quickly under you is that you did dress up as Dracula in your listing photos.
Yeah, I'm actually
every single one. Yeah, yes, Willy Wonka.
Hiding in a corner of every room. If anybody sees me, like the first person to comment my location, I'm giving them a gift card. No, that's not the case.
Exactly.
Did your friends know? Did your friends know that you were the mascot, or did you just keep that a secret?
So I always had to play it off that I was a friend of the mascot, so I could never outright tell people. It was very secretive. People couldn't watch me dress in and out of costume. They couldn't see parts of the costume. It was very much like a society almost.
You were like Peter Parker, basically. You would be like, I could probably get good photos of Spider-Man, but I can't promise you anything. I know he's going to be here at this moment.
Or I'd be in very prestigious areas, and I could only think, like, walking past them, like, oh, I got dressed up as a mascot in there. Like, anyway, so I'm in the governor's mansion thinking about how I'm stripping down to get into this mascot uniform. And then a few years later, we find out there's a bunch of sexual assault allegations. So it wasn't really good timing. Yeah.
All right. Well, speaking of
Marie, I had that same thing. I would walk around USC, all the prestigious buildings, and think, oh, I've drinking in that building. I've drinking that building. I've drinking that building. I'm drinking this building. But
speaking of sexual assault harassment here,
oh my God,
what's happening?
What a segue.
Well, this is so in my market right now, and I'm sure this is going to translate to others. We have been having with leadership many of meetings. They are instituting where you can now, as a listing agent, you can take 4%, 5%, 6%, 2%, whatever it may be, and offer out that 0% compensation. So what that now means for a lot of people or a lot of agents who so choose to do that is, if you're a buyer agent or a seller's agent, right now you have to actually articulate or be able to have your buyers pay for your commission and roll that into the closing cost. In my opinion, it's going to negatively affect the seller in every way, shape, and form. The only positive in my mind of it is that it's going to eliminate these discount brokerages like a Redfin or, the 1%ers or whatever it may be. But we're seeing people that are putting out 0%. So now imagine, and this, Eric, I'm going to tee up to you because you're looking to buy right now. Imagine these agents that maybe don't have the value, or they don't really necessarily know how to articulate why they should be compensated from their agent, or from their buyer, right? So imagine you have an 8% interest rate, there's record low inventory, and now you're asking somebody like Eric, hey man, I know that you're kind of pushing your limits, but you also have to pay for my 2% commission, 3% commission.
Pay it to the buyer's agent? Yeah.
To the buyers. And then you also have to figure in that number is now going towards the appraisal. So what happens if the home does not appraise? You don't know if the listing agent's taking it at 4 or 5% and just keeping it to themselves. And you're also eliminating half your buyer pool. Because if there's 5 listings available, and let's be honest, there's 5 listings, and I can see the compensation of 2, 2, 2, 2, and 0, I'm probably going to not, be so ecstatic to go show that one that has a 0. So it's actually a really good topic to debate, and what's going to come. It's already happening in my market. So Eric, you're buying right now, and you're probably at the max budget. If I came to you and said, hey, like, as much as we're friends, or as much as a good job I've done, if I said, hey man, like, you also got to pay my $40,000 commission, you're probably going to put a spike in my head, no?
Yes, a spike would be driven straight into your cranium. I will mention this though. Redfin also, they are leaving NAR, but they have to stay associated with them, I think, in Houston, Vegas, Nashville, and Phoenix, because those local MLSs require a NAR membership. So
for now.
That's part of the reason why I'm like, hey, this is a monopoly. But that's just because, they have access to anything. In our MLS, you have to be a participant in our.
Well, their dues are also like incredibly expensive too. Like for a lot of agents right now, we've already seen 75,000 agents exit the industry between your NAR dues, between your minor called LIBOR, right? Your E&O. There's a lot of money that you actually have to spend. And if you're not selling, or if you're not making money, it's really hard to keep up with it. And I think that's also part why a lot of people are exiting the industry.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah.
All right. Any final thoughts here on this NAR situation?
I just want to see a side by side of Marie in the costume. I want to see her holding the parrot head or whatever bird this is.
I will find a photo and I'll send it over to Haley. And
can we make that the thumb of this episode?
Yeah, we got exactly.
That would be incredible.
One big bird, and everyone's gonna be like, "What is this?"
Yeah.
And then, well, hello, yeah.
Ooh, that reminds me. Before we move on to topic number 3, I actually used to dress up as Elmo for Halloween for the fall festival, and we used to do like the pumpkin patches, and my father on the landscape, and nobody knew I was Elmo, and it was exhilarating. Okay. I could do whatever I wanted. I was in like 6th grade, so I didn't really do anything.
I was an adult. Yeah.
Right. All right. Marie, you have mascot energy, which I think is a good thing. Like you're
for sure.
You're charismatic, you're nice, you're approachable. So maybe mascot energy is now a thing.
Like let's make that
the new
400
hashtag.
people that watch it. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to now sneak that in. And once again, if somebody notes that hashtag in my content, I want them to go ahead, shout it out,
Exactly.
And let's see if we can reward some good engagement.
BME, big mascot energy. Make sure you like this episode if you like the fact that Marie Lee was the head parrot at Auburn Satellite. All right, Dan, let's get into this next topic here, which is a wild one.
It is a wild one. And before we do that, I'm going to back up to the October content ideas. For anybody listening to this, we're raising money for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. If you wouldn't mind smashing a pumpkin on your Instagram story and using the hashtag SmashTober for Sarasota, we're trying to donate up to $25,000 for breast cancer awareness. I forgot to bring that up on a more sincere and serious note.
I thought you were going to say smash the like button, but I'm glad you said smash the pumpkin.
I missed that. That's on me.
Yeah.
Topic number 3.
No. I'm glad you said the pumpkin and not the like button, but you should smash the like button too. All right.
Great band name.
Smash pumpkins and smash the like button. All right. Topic number 3. We have Tyler Lockett. If you do not know who he is a 31-year-old top wide receiver in the NFL, and he is on my fantasy football team. With 60 career touchdowns and over $70 million on field earnings, he clearly does not need a second side gig. This is from BAM staff. But there's a lot more to Tyler Lockett than his pro football career. In 2019, he published a book of his own poetry called Reflection, which we're not going to even talk about, but he won an Emmy for it, which is incredible. His hometown, so on and so forth. In the last 2 seasons, he's been the Seahawks nominee for the Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year award. The article goes on to read that although he is a top wide receiver in the NFL, making all this money, writing books, winning Emmys, he obtained his real estate license. The backstory behind it is in 2018, he was watching HGTV and decided to get his license. Classic. Last year, he sold $17 million in real estate, and his real estate team is now the official sponsor and team of the Seahawks. I wanted to just read this quote, and then I'll pass it to you guys. He was quoted in this article saying that the biggest thing when it comes to real estate is the relationships, because that is what keeps a client at the end of the day. In every relationship, you've got to have great communication. You've got to have complete and brutal honesty. And sometimes that's the hardest part. They have this idea of this is what the house is going to be sold for, and this is all I'm willing to accept. And you've got to learn to not only be able to talk to them or talk down to them or talk them up, but meet them in the middle and be able to communicate and articulate to them at a level where only they could understand. It's kind of like when you're voted captain. You've got to be able to do the same thing with your teammates. It's incredibly hard balancing one career, this career. I could not imagine balancing two and being in the limelight and a wide receiver. I mean, the amount of effort and energy that has to go into that. Marie, what are your thoughts here on Tyler Lockett getting his real estate license?
Brilliant business move. I mean, I just think about how great of an opportunity it is. I don't know what his end goal is, but I'm like, man, Tyler is on track to create some generational wealth. You know, I mean, NFL is going to come and go. And I mean, I'm sure he's going to have plenty of financial gain from that. But then to go ahead and start investing in real estate, creating a business and building a brand out, like he knows people who have money to transact in this market. Like he's got the network and he's got the grit and the ability to be able to multitask. And, you know, he's got time management skills. Like, I think it's going to be a no-brainer for him. So kudos, much respect given.
Yeah. Jason, what do you think about, I mean, a lot of these teams you kind of see a lot, and Eric, I think, has a whole entire list here, but a lot more teams are, like you see Deion Sanders, right? Like he's trying to teach these kids at a young age, right, who really probably grew up with nothing, how to invest, how to build that generational wealth, not go out and spend their first, sign-on bonus on a Bentley or Rolls Royce. Spend it wisely. And you start to see a lot more of these retired athletes getting into real estate, whether it be building, whether it be investing. It's very clear that real estate is, the path. So what do you think about Tyler Lockett here, and any thoughts on the article?
Yeah, dude, I love it. I mean, you hear all these past like musicians, athletes and stuff like that 10 years later that they're broke, right? Because they were still living the lifestyle that they had when they had all the money, but now they don't have it anymore. And so then you see stories like you said, like Deion or Shaq is my favorite one. It's like Shaq makes more per year now than he ever did in his NBA career. Jordan with the Jordan brand now, 50 Cent, it was all his investments in Smart Water. It wasn't the rapping that did it. And it's like all these, it's what are you doing after your short, NFL career? Now, Tyler Lockett, he's had a great NFL career, but at best it's going to be 10 years, 12. What are you going to do the rest of your life? And I love, I mean, for one, I think the article said he did 17 million, right? So he's already better than 95% of the agents in the business. Right? And so I love the fact that he's got a network of people and that's going to take care of him. But if you read the article too, I think it was his agent or someone in the article said basically like, during training camp, he was on Zoom calls and texting people about off-market deals. And it's not like he's just relying on his network of agents. He's actually putting in the work And then, the favorite part about the whole article is that his couple teammates used him, but when Russ listed his $28 million, he didn't use him. I thought that was
he knew that was going to be a huge pain in the ass to list with Russell Wilson. He's like, I don't work with friends, but he sold like 3 other teammates' properties. He just knew Russell would be awful.
I don't think anybody's friends with Russell Wilson, too. I just watched the podcast where Marshawn Lynch said he literally didn't even have his number and that he actually had him blocked. Yeah, literally.
Yeah, it did say like during training camp and then also in the locker room, like maybe even when Pete Carroll's giving his halftime speech, he's on with Sharon and Real in one of their masterminds. You should get him at Real, Jason, honestly.
He's at Keller Williams, I saw. It's a Keller Williams something. Tyler Lockett
Keller Williams to Real pipeline. Remember?
That's true.
Kind of how it goes.
Ann.
They're saying hello to you.
Ann, can we get your take on Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce?
They want your take on Taylor Swift.
Please, can she just explain?
No.
Can she just no? All right. But it's interesting to see too, and I imagine too, he's also probably inspiring some of the younger players, some of the younger rookies, wide receivers, also to maybe the more that he's talking about it and the more money that they're seeing him make, they're probably also thinking like, okay, well maybe this is something that I want to get into down the line. So I think he's also setting a really good example for not only just the NFL, but just for pro athletes in general.
He's taking it seriously too. He's cold calling. He said he's looking at comps, in between plays instead of listening to his quarterback, listening to Gino.
Now they have the iPad, to check the plays.
He's on Zillow,
checking sales comparisons instead of running a button hook.
Running CMAs.
Here's some other pro athletes that got their real estate license. It's a good list here. Emmett Smith, who actually spoke at the National Association of Realtor convention, the car convention in San Diego, 2015. I was there for that. Didn't see him speak, of course. I was at the bar. Roger Staubach, Oscar De La Hoya, Magic Johnson. These are just, kind of real estate tycoons. But you know who's selling a lot of real estate right now in New York?
Who?
A guy by the name of Jimmy Laritz. Remember him? 1996 Yankees. Marie, you know exactly who I'm talking about. Had the unorthodox stance, kind of like this, with the leg out in front.
Okay.
Hit a couple dingers against the Braves in the 96 World Series. So I do think it's a great route for pro athletes because they're also competitive. Yeah. Right? They're driven and they have a huge network of teammates. So
let's get Tyler on the podcast. I want him to do a comparison between the NFL and real estate. I would love to hear some comparing and contrasting. Yeah, let's get him on.
That would be actually cool. Eric, do you remember when we were in Dallas for 2 years ago summit and Charlie Villanueva came up to you and said we knew who he was and he's like, hey man, I follow the account. We're like, what? We didn't know
Charlie Villanueva is like a big real estate investor guy right now.
Yep. And you also notice too, like a lot of these athletes they're building, so maybe they don't have their license, or maybe they get their license just to kind of represent themselves, or just to see what the deals are going on. I just had a situation where I got invited to a listing presentation for a new development out here in the Hamptons, and I never met the actual owner; just was always the property manager. So I'm a diehard Islanders fan. I think everyone knows that. Turns out that so the property manager's like, yeah, you probably won't meet the owner. He's a big hockey player. He's got 2 concussions. He's on the Islanders. So I'm like, I know exactly who that is. So when I finally met him, I had to pretend like I wasn't, fanboying and I didn't want to ask him for his autograph. But, I didn't realize that his name, he's built, hundreds of homes already. And he's only been here for 3 years. So a lot of people. Sorry. Okay.
I love that Tyler just got his license during his NFL career. So he could just prepare for the post career, because most NFL players, I think it's like 3 years on average. Let's get into the market of the week, because this one is incredible.
Jason Cassidy sushi video.
Jason
shout
Cassidy
out to Tyler
comparing
Lockett.
The best sushi in San Diego.
Yeah, shout out to Tyler.
Oh.
Shout out to Ann.
Oh, who is that? It's Marie Leaf.
Oh.
All right, here we go. What do you know? Classic.
Is that Chauncey?
Honestly,
Chauncey the Chanticleer?
Listen to this. This is a great reel. Play it, Haley, please.
Last week, we closed on a home for a first-time home buyer who has been shopping for 3 years. Why did she decide to buy right now when the market is seemingly the worst and interest rates are at the highest that they have been in years? Although the rates were extremely low in 2021, this buyer didn't have the financial means to compete against other buyers. And then there was a shock once the interest rates began to increase in 2022. So here we are in 2023, where homes are sitting on the market for longer and there's a little bit more to choose from. But we found a home that was within within their budget, and the sellers were willing to pay some major closing costs. That got our mortgage payment right at the amount that our buyer wanted to pay. She didn't feel like she was overpaying for a property. That made buying a home much more affordable for her today in comparison to the years past. So instead of being scared and listening to the news, let's have a chat and see what's realistic for you and how we can achieve your first time homebuyer goals.
How good is that? She
ahead,
sets
man.
up the common buyer problem right now. Should have bought a couple years ago. There's no inventory. Talks about seller credits. Talks about the solution. So I just thought the entire video was framed really well, and it's telling a story about a past sale. So great job, Marie. Any thoughts on this, Jason?
Thanks.
Yeah,
So
it was
should
fantastic. Start to finish. I think that the rawness of the being in the car versus a produced thing is winning right now. Like it just people are done with the produced stuff, and so like the rawness of being in the car and telling a story. I'm the biggest like you're not saying, hey, I sold this house. You're saying, let me tell you the story of this buyer, what she went through or what they went through and how we solved it together and now how they won, right? And
you know how many first-time homebuyers are watching that too, being like, oh my God, they're talking about me.
That's
fantastic.
me.
Oh, there's
That's me.
there's seller credits. Oh, okay. There's maybe a little bit more inventory now. Oh, there's a little bit less buyer competition. So I thought that was
social
great, Marie.
proof. Social proof, and she's showing a solution, right? So she's now showing these buyers that she's able to come up with a solution for them that maybe somebody else that they had spoken to weren't able.
She never had to say. She never said, "I told them to do this" or "I helped them do this." But the fact that you're telling the story, people are like, "Oh, okay, cool. Marie did this. You know, she's the agent on this." But you never said that. You kept it about the client the entire time, which is the win.
Now imagine that same video, except you're in full mascot outfit in the front seat of the car, telling it completely serious.
I feel like that would only be terrifying. I feel like that would be absolutely repulsive for business. But no, I mean,
amazing.
Yeah, we'll try. Let's do an A/B test and see what the results are. No, man, it's really cool to one. We were talking about what kind of content's working right now. Reels are flopping. I noticed on that one in comparison to the other reels that I've been doing recently, engagements up, saves are up. The amount of conversations generated has been significantly up. So I'm at a point now where I'm like, oh yeah, I gotta like get back on the camera and do some talking head videos because like this is working. But then also, I think a lot of agents have the perspective of talking about themselves and they don't focus on the person who they're trying to connect with, the person who they're trying to serve, and what some solutions are. So, traditional marketing, like let's talk about some pains and problem solving, and let's talk about it from the perspective of who your ideal client is. And then, it just kind of all works out from there, in my opinion. So.
I think in that video too, you actually hit like every single content bucket there. You hit Real Estate 101, you hit Agent Solutions, right? For other agents, you hit, the Real Estate 101 for buyers, for somebody that might not have known, and it's front facing, right? Raw video. You literally, I think, hit every single content bucket that there is in that video.
Appreciate
10
it.
out of 10.
Thanks.
10 out of 10.
Everybody go follow Marie Lee from Tennessee at Moving to Tennessee. Follow Jason Cassidy. Follow Danny Deals at Dan O'Neill _ right? And then also, you got to join BAMX. Use code WALKTHROUGH. There's a link down in the description. We'll see you next week on the walkthrough. Thank you. Shout out Tyler Lockett. Shout out Taylor Swift. Shout out Ernie, who chewed through Dan's cord. Peace.